Association, that you will observe and enforce the code of ethics of the Realtors, that you will uphold and support Texas Realtors and the National Association of Realtors, that you will, in all your acts, be governed by the principles of honesty, justice, and fair play, and in every manner possible endeavor to promote and safeguard the best interest of the association and the welfare of its membership. Please respond by saying, I do.
I do.
Congratulations.
And because I messed everything up, Bill has to come back up and do a little bit more. and the last thing they told me is, don't let Bill leave the stage.
The real question is, Bill, are you sure?
I might have it in my pocket.
Uh-huh.
I don't.
Hold on, wait a moment.
Technical difficulties, hold on.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. What is it? What?
Okay, well,
Tell a joke, Russell.
let's see here.
Gee, thanks, Russell.
We don't have it.
Tell a story.
We're holding up the show.
Yeah. We'll get to that later.
What are we looking for?
A pen.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna sing.
Oh, no.
I'm not as worried about my speech anymore. We've all heard about the marvels of the rainforest. There are literally thousands of lessons that we could learn from and apply to our everyday lives. I'm going to talk to you about one today. And Nancy, I'm going to lose it. Sylvia, I'm going to follow in your steps, and I'm going to lose it too probably, so just bear with me. In the rainforest, it floods. It's just a fact of life. And two of the inhabitants of the rainforest deal with these floods in very different ways. On the one hand, you have fire ants. Fire ants live underground. And when it floods, their colonies get washed away. And when this happens, they demonstrate a very unique form of teamwork. They form this big blob on top of the water that floats. And by doing that, they ensure their survival. Just long enough for the rains to stop, the floodwaters to disappear, where they make their way back down to the forest floor, and they rebuild their colonies and go through the same exact routine the very next season. But on the other hand, you have leafcutter ants. Leafcutter ants live high in the treetops, which means they don't get bothered by the floods. They've evolved in a way that's different than the fire ants. And because of this, they've eliminated a threat. Now, I know what you're all thinking. This guy knows a lot about ants. But I'm a big science nerd, and I love to watch shows like this on the Discovery Channel. So a couple months ago when I was watching the show, the scientists on the show, they studied the ant species individually, because in nature, it's very rare that they would ever interact with each other, and it's easy to understand why. They live in completely different places. But the scientists, being scientists, figured out a way to change that. So they scooped up some fire ants and scooped up some leafcutter ants, and they put them together in a jar. At first, nothing happened. The two species were living peacefully. They were coexisting until someone shook the jar. And then what do you think happened? They all started to kill each other. So what does this have to do with anything? We are those ants. Some of us are rolling through the cycles. We know the ups and downs are coming. We prepare for them. And when they finally do come, we all band together and we persevere through them until the next cycle comes. While some of us think a little bit differently. We've challenged the status quo. we found a new way to survive, a new business model. So what separates us from the ants? The ants know that in the rainforest, there's plenty of room for different modes of survival. The two species do their own thing. They don't even pay attention to one another, but they both thrive independently because they measure their successes differently. I'd like to think that we're just as smart as the ants, at least on most days. We have to know that the floods are always going to come. There's always going to be someone that wants to shake the jar. But it's our job to be the team builders and the innovators that keep our industry safe and our association strong. So what did you guys think about that drone footage from earlier?
Yes.
This is a very exciting time to be a part of this association. We have a new logo, a new look, and very soon a beautiful new state-of-the-art building. All of these changes are happening at exactly the right time. Our initiatives have always been laser focused on our members. And these changes that are happening are going to allow us to keep the professionalism and success of our members as our #1 priority. Now, I know for some of us, change is hard, but I'm here to tell you there's a difference between changing just to change and a change with a purpose in mind. A change with a purpose is called evolution, and evolution takes a lot of hard work. I come from a family of home builders, and they're no strangers to hard work. I used to work with my dad in the summertime. I would sweep up job sites and haul trash to the dumpster, all the glamorous parts of home building. And one of my most, it's treasure to me now, but it wasn't at the time, involved figuring out how I was going to get scrap 2x4s out of a porta potty. But I'll spare you those details. I would watch my dad work with a sense of awe and admiration. He could drive a nail into a 2x4 with one blow from his hammer. He was a master at his craft. And he would drive nail one after the other after the other. Every once in a while, though, it didn't happen very often, he would hit the nail wrong and it would bend. But it wasn't a big deal. He would just flip the hammer over and use the claw to pull the bent nail out and start again. I've noticed the parallels that we're on together. MetroTex is the 5th largest association in the country. And because of that, we have power. We have influence, as my friend Bill Jordan would say. And that influence is our biggest strength. It represents the head of the hammer. And we're bound to make a mistake here or there. Every once in a while, we'll have to flip the hammer over, pull our bent nail out, and start again. And to remind ourselves of that every day, I've chosen to use this hammer as my gun. The theme I chose for 2022 is a world of opportunities. Now, you might have noticed that we swapped out the rubber chicken for breakfast for dinner. And for me, breakfast is a time where I evaluate my goals. It's a symbolic blank slate that's full of opportunities. You may have also noticed that we have some throwback photos from our incoming directors and officers. And so I wanted to evoke the wide-eyed wonder of what opportunities meant to us in our youth. Dreams had no limits when we were kids. We thought we could do anything. And so I wanted to challenge our members to think big, to think of what we could accomplish if we knew we could not fail. Now, think back to the very first time that you ever stepped foot inside a Realtor association. I'm gonna have a little Golden Girls moment. Picture it, MetroTex, 2010. I remember how I felt. I was nervous, scared, overwhelmed, and honestly a little irritated that I was about to drop $700 on membership dues and fees that I really didn't have. And on top of that, I had to take a new member orientation. Great. So the day of new member orientation, I remember walking up the stairs, down the hallway, up to the classroom, you know the one, picked a seat alone at the very back. And all of the other new realtors and I sat there in silence and tried really hard to avoid eye contact. When our silence was broken, good morning, good morning. And that woman that we were about to meet for the very first time was Barbara Bach. And in that instant, our mood completely changed. All because of someone that demonstrated a passion for this industry and all of the opportunities it provides. Here's where I'm going to lose it. Over the next few years, I would meet so many more people that would help influence the realtor that I am today. The first and probably the most impactful for me was my first broker, Carol Blair. She saw something inside me, and she, how can you say, highly suggested with force that I get involved in the association. She voluntold me. And this is a word that we're all too familiar with in our industry. At the time, I remember thinking, I am just trying to keep my head above water here. Why in the world do I need to add something else to my plate? Something that doesn't even make me money. But what I didn't realize was that at the time, that was my first open door that would lead me to the heart and soul of this industry. That first opportunity came in the form of a tree pack auction. And I'm not gonna lie, at that time, I didn't even know what a tree pack was. But I would soon meet people like Linda Argo and Nancy Garcia and Marilyn Frederick, who further honed my understanding of tree pack. They introduced me to MLS meetings. And that's where I'm so proud to say that I've met all of my friends, most of my friends, they're in my life today. It's where I met the person I'm marrying in 2 days. And let me tell you, I should have listened to Janet and Terry when they told me, planning your installation and your wedding 2 days apart, that's not a good idea. 1 star, would not recommend. The next pivotal moment in my professional career came from when I went through the TRLP program. Alan, we're hearing that all night long. And it's where I was introduced to the MetroTex Executive Committee for the very first time. It's where I would hear Russell Berry talk to a group of people where someone asked him, hey Russell, how did you become president of MetroTex? Do you remember what you said? I said yes, 1 too many times. And that moment really resonated with me. It still resonates with me today. And think about it. The word no never opened any doors. The word no never led to any unexpected outcomes. But truly, I was never given the chance to say no. If people like Linda Argo and Carol Blair and Nancy Garcia hadn't pulled me along on their journeys, I can promise without a doubt I would not have found the opportunity that led me here today. That first yes of mine was the first of many more to come. And that first yes changed my life. And so I encourage each of you to give yes a chance. Your yes could lead you to join a committee, to lead a committee. Your yes could lead you to apply for the board of directors, to lead this association or beyond. You could become a yes machine like Russell, Nancy, and Sylvia, who are some of the brightest leaders in this industry. And by the way, they are all MetroTex members.
Woo!
So while our journeys may be different, our outcomes are always the same. In the end, we found that we have built new relationships, that we've learned new skills, that we've enhanced our associations, and in the process become better realtors. Our journeys begin when we decide to give a little piece of ourselves back to an industry that has done so much for us. And the best part is that we come out of this as way better versions of ourselves than we ever could have imagined before we started.
Yep.
So y'all remember those ants? Just like them, we will conquer the cycles. We will learn to evolve. And we won't let the jar shakers get the best of us. Like a hammer, we will use our influence to accomplish great things, and will humbly correct our mistakes when we make them. As leaders of this association, let's make a promise to each other that we will lift each other up, that we will be more open to yes in all of the journeys that follow, and that we'll always choose to see the world in terms of its opportunities. Thank you very much, and I look forward to serving with you all in 2022 and all that we can accomplish.